Namaste. Welcome to India Yoga Alliance. So today we are discussing here philosophy, and like last time we said, we will be discuss all our old books, which is the source of yoga, like Shiva Samhita, Gita Samhita, Upanishada or Bhagavad Gita. So in this sequence, today we will be learn and study about the Bhagavad Gita, where the God gives the knowledge of yoga direct to Arjuna in a war. But first of all, we will be trying to understand why the war was there and what's the benefits of war. So that's the time of Dwapar Yuga. So in a Dwapar Yuga, that time was there the one king, and he was a three son, and one son was a blind, and one son was speak a bow. He's not want to be ever a king. He will be just serve those person who will be a king. So there the youngest son was, his name was Pandu, and Pandu becomes a king. So Pandu born a 5 son, and the same way Dhritarashtra, who was the blind, he was the oldest son of the king, but he was blind, so he can't be able to king. So youngest son was a king, and he was a 5 son. The oldest one was a Yudhishthira, then Arjuna, Bhima, and then Nakul and Sahadev. And that same way, who was the blind Dhritarashtra, he was also 100 son. So the most important character of them was a Duryodhana. So what happens after a few times, the Pandu, who was the king, he died. So that's for certain amount, because the throne was empty, so there need be someone king. So they made a blind person a king. But they was just waiting when all our prince will be grow up. So who's the oldest one? He will be a king. So according to this theory, we call Dharamraj Yudhishthir, he need to be a king. But who was the blind guy, his son was the younger than to the Yudhishthira. But he says, no, why the Yudhishthira will be a king? My dad is a king, so I need to be king, I should be king. So they start to fight for kingdom. So finally they decided, okay, we can share the kingdom. So but who was the king? His son said, no, why I will be share? My dad is a king, so I will be the king of the whole land. So the cousins, they start to be a fight with each other. Not directly fight, but they start to feel unsafe, or they are in a race to become a king. So finally what's happened, they share the land, but who was the son of king, Duryodhana, he tricked them and he harassed them, and he take back the share of the Pandavas, and they got a commitment, they have to live 12 years in a forest and 1 year hidely. If they founded by Duryodhana or any one of his soldiers or person, so they have to go back again for the 12 years again in a forest. So finally they finish their forest work, and they comes to back to the land. But there was a fight again about to the kingdom. So finally Arjuna collect his armies, and mostly the war was designed by the God, because the war was the time of the changing time of the age. That time age need to be changed, so that's planned by that war was planned by Lord and God. We can say Lord or we can say God. So in this time, who was the king? He was a cruel or rude person who was ruling the kingdom in an unfairness. Was crime everywhere, corruption, rapes, killings. So God was come to just that to change, and the war was important. So God chose the Arjuna because there was already war going on. So it happens in every age. Revolutions happens, demons in every age. In a Satyuga, Satyuga was a demons also. In a Treta Yuga also, and Dwapar Yuga, and now we are living in a Kali Yuga. Here also demons, just they have a different names or different shapes. Now we are suffering with the corruptions, we are suffering with the killings also, we are suffering also with the terrorisms. So the same demons never goes finished from to the earth. Just we can less, but we can't finish. So the God comes that time, and there was God inspired them to be a war, to be a revolutions, to be a fight for your own rights. So in that way, that becomes a big war, and that war was a intergalaxy war. There was participating peoples from to the heaven, from to the other planets, from to the even Patal Lok, we call the demons place. There also, it wasn't just a fight between the earth peoples, it was a fight, intergalaxy war. So the God comes to help Arjuna, and without even using any weapons. He says, I can help you, but I can be just work there as your driver. I will be just with you, and I will be just suggest you. I'm not going to be hold any weapons. I'm not going to be use any bow. I will be just there with my empty hand, and I can just support you mentally. So Arjuna says, okay, that will be nice. So but when they entered in a war, so what's happened there, we will discuss that now in a Bhagavad Gita, from to the chapter 1 to, we will discuss from chapter 1 to the chapter 18. There have 18 chapters, and we will discuss that soon. Namaste.